Welcome everyone. We are very excited to roll out the new colleague self-service time entry. Um, for today's agenda, we are going to discuss the difference between chronos and colleague time entry. We are going to show you how to log in to self-service time entry. We're going to show you how to enter your time worked, how to enter paid leave time, which you as the employee can now do yourself. And then we'll show you how to submit your time card to your supervisor for approval. We'll have a quick Q&A session for you where you can ask us questions. And then from there, we will move on to the second half of our presentation, which is aimed towards the supervisors and how to review and approve employees' time cards. So the first big difference between Chronos and the new colleague time entry is that Chronos was a punch system, like an old time clock. You physically punched in and out every time you started and ended a shift or a break. With colleague time entry, it's a time recording system. What that means is you're simply logging your hours, your start and end times for your shifts and your breaks, and you could do that anytime before the pay period is due. With that, we will add that this does allow for more flexibility amongst all the different departments on campus. So please follow whatever guidelines your department and your supervisors give you. So if they do want you to punch in and out as you come and go, please do so. If they're okay with you just having all your time recorded by the end of the week or the end of the pay period, then please do that. But ultimately, it will be up to your department / supervisor of how they want time entered. So how do you access time entry? So the next slide here on the top left-hand side, there is the link to the time entry website. The link will also be hosted on the administrative links page, and all kiosks and computer terminals on campus that are already set up to go directly to Chronos will be redirected to time entry starting July 26th. When you first go to this website, you will see the sign-in page, which is the purple page you see on the right-hand side of your screen. You'll use your short username and password, which is the same password you used for Chronos to sign in. Please know that this link is not turned on and is not live and active yet. So if you do try to click on this link, it will not work. It will be turned on the 26th. Once you sign in, you'll be taken to the main colleague self-service page. From here, you would click on the employee tab or button that we have circled here in red. And then from there, you would click on time card. I would like to add a note that IT is currently working to have any of the kiosks set up to where once you sign in, it will take you straight to the time card page. Whereas if you are an employee who has your own computer and you're using the link, you will have to hit employee and then time card. But if you're using a kiosk, you'll be saved a few clicks or two. Once you do log in and you get to the time card screen, this is what you will see. So you see that all of the time cards are weekly time cards. We still have bi-weekly payroll. However, you will enter your time and submit your time by the week. So in this example here, you'll see 3 weeks worth of time. And on the left-hand side, you'll see that there's 0 hours entered for each of these weeks. As you enter time, you'll get a running total for how many hours you have entered for each week. If you look towards the right of the screen, you'll see that this example we are using, this employee has multiple jobs on campus. This most likely will not apply to many of you, but it will apply to some of you, and a lot of students have multiple jobs on campus. It does list the actual title of the student job, which is a lot more friendly than the job number convention that used to be listed in Chronos. To actually go into the time card, you would hit the arrow on the right-hand side of the screen, and this takes you to the actual time card. Once again, for this example, this employee has more than one job on campus. So this is still just looking at a 1 week time card. This employee just happens to have multiple jobs. Each job is in its own gray box, and on the left-hand side, once again, has the running totals. You can click on the arrows on the right-hand side to expand into the specific time card for this specific job. So once you drill into the time card for this specific job, you'll see the job number and job title is at the top. It's giving you a total of how many hours you have entered so far. And from here is where you would enter all your start and end times, including the beginning of your shift, breaks, and the end of your shift. So if you look towards the top left, you'll see it says regular earnings staff. This is where you enter your time. This is all your regular worked hours. Each day starts off with 2 boxes, so you can enter a start and an end time. If you look at Monday, there are additional boxes. It looks like the employee added an in time of 8 a.m., an out time of 12:30 p.m., another in time of 1:30 with another out time of 5. So it looks like they took a lunch break from 12:30 to 1:30. If you look below on Monday, you'll see a blue minus and plus sign. So once you fill in the first 2 available boxes, or all available boxes, you'll see the blue minus and plus signs will appear, and you can hit the plus sign and additional boxes will show up for you to enter additional start and end time. So if you do have to enter break times, or if you have a split shift, that's how you would go to enter additional time within the same day. The screen does auto save, but you can also go to the top right hand side of your screen to save as you go. And then you only have to submit your time card at the end of each week. You do not submit it each day. So you'll see at the bottom of the screen, we got the big circle with the cross going through it. You know, don't submit each day, submit at the end of the week and or pay period. If you ever do accidentally submit that button too early, or if you submit it and realize there's an error, or you need to change or add something, you can always just hit unsubmit for approval. So once you hit submit, the button will change to say unsubmit for approval. So you could always withdraw that submission. When you submit your time card, your supervisor will get an email letting them know that you have submitted your time card. If you unsubmit your time card, they will get another email informing them that you have unsubmitted your time card. You as the employee will also get emails and notifications based on the actions that your supervisor takes in colleague time entry. So once they approve your time card, you would get an email. If they reject your time card or add comments to your time card or edit your time cards, you would get emails for each of those actions that they take on your time card. Another new exciting feature of colleague time entry is that you as the employee can now enter your own paid leave time when taken. So for those of you that are benefit eligible employees who are awarded vacation and sick time, if you go to the top right hand side of your screen, there is a view leave balances button. Here, it will show you your vacation balance and your sick time balance. If you drill down a little bit more, it'll actually show you the amount awarded to you, any that's been used, and or any adjustments resulting in your current balance. Towards the bottom left-hand side of your screen is where you would go to actually enter any sick or vacation time. So when you click on the additional time button, there'll be a drop-down box that appears. You'll have different paid leave types to select, including sick, vacation, as well as some additional paid leave such as jury duty, bereavement, short-term disability, modified operations in case there's a snow day, and a few more. Now, mind you, not every employee on campus is eligible for every additional type of paid leave. If you ever do have any questions regarding which types of paid leave you are personally eligible for, you can ask your supervisor or the HR department. And please remember that your supervisor will be reviewing and approving the time card. So if they ever do see that you've entered time that you're not eligible for, they should correct that and reach out to you regarding that. When you do go to enter additional time, if you look at the screen here, you see where you have the regular earnings, and that's where you enter your worked hours and start and end times. Once you select a type of additional time, such as vacation, another row will appear that says vacation time, and then it'll have boxes for each day for you to enter an amount of hours. You won't have to enter start and end time. If you're taking 4 vacation hours for a day, you'd enter 4. If you're taking 8, you'd enter 8. and sometimes maybe you worked 4 hours and you're taking 4 hours of vacation. So you could enter both types of those times within the same day. Your worked hours would be under the regular earnings with a start and end time. Your vacation hours would be under additional time, vacation 4 hours. Once you have entered all of your work time and additional paid leave time, it is now time to submit your time card for approval. So now you could go ahead and click that button that says submit for approval at the bottom of the screen. As I mentioned earlier, your supervisor will get an email notifying them that you have submitted your time card for approval. Staff submission deadline for time cards is Mondays by 9 a.m. and that is actually every other Monday, what we refer to as payroll Mondays. There is a pay calendar available on the HR website under forms and processes, and it lets you know which Mondays that time cards are due by. So be sure to follow that deadline. And from there, that is really the nuts and bolts of the time entry. I know that probably seems like a quick tutorial, but that is how easy time entry is. And that's why we are moving to this system. It is very user-friendly. It is very intuitive, easier to use. Another pro is that time entry can be accessed from anywhere. So you do not have to be on campus. You could be at home and maybe you realize you need to get your time entered for the week. You can do that from home. You could do it from a mobile device. Another thing to mention about time entry, though, is there is the regular maintenance window when maintenance does occur on Sundays. That colleague may be down, or just times that software goes down, just like Chronos used to sometimes go down. The nice thing about colleague is that if colleague happens to be down when you're going to enter start and end time, it's not that big of a deal. You just simply wait till colleagues back up and you could enter that time. There's not going to be any edits or adjustments that need to be made because it's a time entry, not a time punch system. Please also note that the 6-minute grace period is still in effect. So if you get to work and your start time is supposed to be 8 a.m. and it's 8:04, you could go ahead and enter an 8 a.m. start time as long as you start within that 6-minute grace period. I will hand it off to Tamara to discuss pink sheets and midnight shifts real quick. Tamara?
Hey, Christy, thank you so much. She's got this down pat now. We've done it a couple times, and I'll just reiterate a couple of things. We obviously did some testing internally and a pilot group. We've had great feedback on this, so we're really excited to be rolling this out. I know it's hard to take on a change right now. There's a lot of things changing on campus, and certainly, we want to be mindful of that, but we think this is going to be a good one and something we just really need to keep us moving forward, roll out. I'll share from a finance hat perspective that this will allow us to eliminate Chronos, which has a pretty high dollar tag for something that we're finding is very user friendly, that we're already paying for in the colleague package. So not only do I think we're getting a better product and going to get some benefits from that, I believe that there'll be a financial impact as well. So that's always a plus for us. Two pieces that I wanted to kind of talk through and share with folks that came out when we were doing some testing, and I really wanted to be able to field those, is that Saturday, Sunday cutoff. Now, it may not apply to anybody on the phone, but we do have a couple folks on campus that sometimes work a midnight shift on Saturday night. I think it's typically VUPD, but there might be some others that I'm unaware of. Historically, Chronos would actually take some of those Sunday hours and pull them back into that pay period. Because this is a time entry system, we want to use this appropriately and truly abide by probably the timekeeping that we should have been. Saturday night at midnight will be the cutoff for that pay period. So if you're working overnight on a Saturday night and at midnight, you would put in your time out at midnight for Saturday night on that particular pay period. In the next pay period, you would enter your Sunday 12:01 a.m. start time, and your time would continue to roll forward from there. Certainly one of the things we addressed was, that could have been causing some overtime, and that will still happen. It will just be on the following week. So understand that it will only take one pay period and those will be caught up to where they were before. It's really just that the math of the hours and making it a clean cutoff. So I wanted to address that piece. Certainly reach out if you have specific questions on that one. Again, it doesn't apply to a lot of folks, but we wanted to make a statement about it. Secondarily, the pink sheets. A lot of times we've asked for, or hopefully you've been sending pink sheets into the payroll department in regards to your employees' time off and or your time off for sick or vacation time, your requested leave. As you saw Christy in the demonstration and address in her presentation, there is leave type in there. So when you're going in to put in your time entry, you can identify that I had 8 hours of vacation time on which day. Coming in, I'm hopeful October timeframe. So colleague is doing some significant upgrades to this in regards to their leave plan, and they're going to be rolling out a leave plan request process. We tested that one a little bit, found a little issue with a couple of the pieces, and they're making significant improvements to it. So we're going to hold out probably like a phase 2 for the October timeframe and roll out that leave plan request process. What that means is you'll actually send the request to your supervisor. Once they approve it, it will automatically drop into your time card. You won't have to do that entry. It'll be in there based on that other system that will be integrated with it. All that's really just to say, until that time frame, we're asking you to go ahead and keep sending your pink sheets over to payroll. One, it's just a good representation that your supervisor is aware of the time that's taking. They know what they're looking for when they go in the system to approve it, and then payroll can be a double check of that time that's being used. Really just a good check for us to ensure that people are getting paid for what they're supposed to be and utilizing their time that's available to them. But also, because we don't want to throw too many changes at you at once, just go ahead and keep doing that one, and we'll make that a part of a phase 2 change when it gets here. You can always put it on white paper. We accept that too. So I can't say enough good things about the system, but you're hearing it firsthand, and it really is very user friendly. So I would just ask folks to be open-minded about it and accepting to trying something new, and I think you're going to be pleasantly surprised. Christy, I'll turn it back over to you.
Thank you, Tamara. So I did also want to add that just like we had with Chronos, we do have an email address that is set up specifically for you guys to send questions or any issues you have when it comes to time entry that's now or in the future. And that is on your screen. That is time.entry@valpo.edu. But right now we'll go ahead and open it up for any questions or feedback or concerns that anybody has. You could go ahead and unmute, or you could send them to the chat, and I'll be checking those as well. So please, we welcome your questions.
Christy, this is Adam. Quick question for employees that work overnight outside of the Saturday to Sunday transition. Would they, as far as entering their time, would they put their end time in a similar fashion for, say if they work Tuesday night into Wednesday morning, would they put an end time of midnight on Tuesday night and then a re-entry for 12:01 on Wednesday morning? Is that how that would work?
Yeah, it does. That is one thing I specifically tested when we were testing it, and it does make you have a start and an end time each day. You know, you can't have that open. So yeah, they would want to, clock out at 11:59 p.m., say Tuesday night, and clock back in at 12 a.m. Wednesday morning. And once again, they don't have to do that at that exact moment. So whenever they're logging their time, you would go in and do that. But yeah, it does require that.
Okay, thank you.
And then I see in the chat that we do have another question. The question is, do we need an app in order to use it from our phone? No, you would just use the normal link. It is mobile friendly, so we'd be able to use it there. Obviously, the screen would be a little bit smaller. You might have to zoom in a little bit, but you would be able to access the link on your phone directly. Any additional questions? And just remember, if you think of a question tonight, tomorrow, feel free to send them to the email address. We are monitoring that. We welcome the questions. We will respond promptly. We are very, very excited to roll this out, and I think you guys will all be pleasantly surprised. It is so user-friendly and easy. All right, so without any further questions, we're going to go ahead and move on to the supervisor portion and the review and approval of employee time cards. So the supervisors do log in using the same link, the same website. They do hit the employee, but then you go to the time approval. Once you click on time approval, it will pull up a list of all your employees. I would like to add a note that the first time you do hit time approval and it's loading up all of your employees, depending on how many employees you have, it could take a few minutes to load up. So please bear with us for that. The system's not broken, your computer's not messing up. It can just take a few minutes. Ellucian is aware of the issue and they are already working on a fix that should be rolled out in September. So it should only just be a few weeks and it just takes a few moments. And just keep that in mind when you are logging in to approve time cards on a payroll Monday. Just build in a few extra minutes to let that load up. But once it loads up, this is the screen you would see. For privacy reasons, our screen says employee 1, employee 2, employee 3. When you log in, that would be your actual employee names. As you see, you're looking at employee 1 and you have each week listed in front of you. Although we are on biweekly pay periods, you can still review and approve time cards by the week, which can actually save you time on payroll Mondays, and that you'll only have 1 week's worth of time cards to review and approve. You can kind of get a head start, which is a nice bonus feature. But from this screen here, you will see that you can see each of your employees and the amount of time they have entered for the week. So in our example here under status, you'll see it says no time entered. During the screenshot, our employees had no time entered, so that was the current status. If you go over to each column on the right, it will give you a running total of the total hours submitted, the regular worked hours submitted, overtime hours submitted, and any additional hours entered. So that would be sick, vacation, jury duty, any of those additional times. When you're looking at your list of employees, if you're looking and everything looks right and correct, you got a regular full-time employee, they work 40 hours a week, you know they were here all week, and their total hours are 40, you can go ahead and hit that approve check mark right there, and that time card's approved. You can also do a few other actions. You can reject their time card from here, or you can add comments to their time card. Most likely, if you're not approving it from this screen, you maybe want to see some more details or you have some questions. So to drill into the detail level of the time card, you would hit the view button on the right-hand side. Once you hit the view button, you are now looking at one employee's time card for one specific week. Again, in this example, this employee has multiple jobs on campus. This is not common, but we did want to use this as a good example for those situations for supervisors who do have employees with multiple jobs. The nice thing about time entry is it gives a clear distinction of the hours being charged to each of the jobs the employee or student has on campus. So for this specific employee, these are their 3 different jobs. It's giving you the job number, the job name, and a number of hours entered so far. In our example, 0. And then down at the bottom, it's giving you weekly totals. So in this example here, you may be the supervisor for only the top job, which is instruction service assistant. In that case, you would be able to drill into this job and look at all the hours, edit the hours, approve the hours, reject the hours, do anything a supervisor would do. The other jobs, however, you could only view. You do not approve them, you can't edit them, you do not supervise that position, therefore you cannot do anything but view those hours. And that is a benefit because before with Chronos, once one supervisor approved the time card, it was approved and none of the other supervisors could make any changes. It also wasn't as clear to the student when entering the time which job they were charging their hours to. It wasn't clear to the supervisors which job the hours were being charged to. So this is a lot cleaner and helps identify where the time is actually being charged to. Once you do click into the job that you supervise, you would see the hours entered by the employee. So you'll see at the top, you got the job number, the job title, the total number of hours, and then down lower, you have the type of hours submitted. So for the student, it's going to be federal work study hours. You would see all their start and end times along with their totals, and you could go ahead and approve the time card on the top right-hand side of the screen. If this was a benefit eligible employee and they had any additional time, vacation, sick, jury duty, there would be additional rows with each of those times separated out. So you could very distinctively see the number of work hours that were submitted, the number of vacation or any other additional time that was submitted. If you do not approve the time card, you do have the option of other actions. So you can also reject the time card. If you do reject the time card, it is going to require you to enter a comment. That way the employee will get an email notification letting them know that you rejected the time card along with your comment. Or maybe you don't want to reject the time card, but you just have some questions. You can use the comment option and send a comment to the student. Maybe though it is 11:45 and time cards are due by noon and you don't have time to chat back and forth and you know what needs to be done to this time card, you know what's missing or wrong. You as a supervisor from this screen right here can just go onto each of the days and earn types and make any and all changes that you need to make to get the time card correct. Once you have the time card correct and how you want it, you would just go ahead and select the approve button. Once you do hit the approve button, if you go back to the main screen where you see all your employees, you'll now see in this example that it's showing the status for this specific time card is approved. So it also gives you a nice quick snapshot when you look at your main screen of knowing which time cards need approved and which ones don't. Please remember that time cards must be reviewed and approved by the supervisor on payroll Mondays by noon. And that follows the payroll schedule, the payroll calendar, which can be found on the Human Resources site under Forms and Processes. And that is pretty much how you approve a time card. It's very simple, quick, and easy. Again, the supervisors can also access this from anywhere. Very intuitive. The next part I do want to talk about is proxy access. And there's a few different reasons why you may want to provide someone proxy access. So first off, all approvers should have a backup approver who, in the case of an emergency or vacation or out of office, can access your time cards to approve them on your behalf. In some departments, you as a supervisor may not be the one approving the time cards. It may be an admin assistant or another coworker. For time entry, whoever is assigned an individual person, you are assigned as their supervisor, you will be the one who has access to that time card. We do not control that no more. I know before with Chronos, HR and payroll kind of could assign you groups and people to access, and we could assign your backup approvers as well. This is now all in the hands of the supervisor. So as long as you are the supervisor for the employee, you will have access to their time card. Whoever you want to assign proxy access, whether that's going to be someone else who's going to be regularly in charge of approving your time cards or a backup approver, you can do that yourself. So to do that, you would simply log in to time entry, and instead of hitting time approval, you would hit employee proxy. Here you can delegate someone else to approve your time cards. So the next button you would push would be add time approval proxy. Then another box will pop up and you could start typing the name of the person you want to assign proxy access to. As you start to type, a list of names will appear. Once you see the person you want to give access to, you would click on their name and hit add proxy. From here, the person will have access to log in using their own username and password, and then select that they want to be proxy to your time cards and access your time cards for approval. They will not be able to access anything else or any of your other self-service functions but your time cards. When an employee does log in, they can they'll see the person proxy. So if you do have proxy access, you will see yourself and you can either click on yourself, or you'll see the other employee that you have access to, in this case, Victor Valpo, and you can select on Victor Valpo and continue, and you will see his time cards. At any time, you could go to the top right-hand side of the screen and go to change proxy user, and there you can toggle back and forth between you and any proxy access that you have. When you are viewing as a proxy user, the nice thing is it makes it very clear to you. There is a green bar that will appear at the top of the screen to remind you that you are acting on behalf of another user. So it's very clear to you that, hey, you're acting on behalf of Victor Valpo here. If you ever need to change that, you can simply click the change user, toggle back and forth. From here on out, you would access it the same way you would. You'd click on employee, time approval, and you would see Victor Valpo's employees for you to review and approve their time cards. So really the power is in the hands of the supervisor. It is very user-friendly. The one other thing I like to mention, that you as a supervisor are ultimately responsible for the employees' time cards, meaning you need to review these time cards and you need to approve them. The employees can enter anytime they want, including paid leave time. If you do not review and do not approve the time cards, they will still go through and the employees will be paid for any time that they entered. So you as the supervisor need to perform your responsibility of reviewing and approving time cards. And that is really all I had. Tamara, is there anything you would like to add at this point?
No, I think that's good.
All right. Again, we'll open it up for any questions that anybody has, or feedback, questions, comments, concerns, criticisms. Again, we're really excited. The supervisor portion, I think you guys will be way happier. I feel that you will have to reach out to us a lot less for issues that popped up, or access issues, or questions, or help correcting something. It's going to be a lot smoother for you. Melanie, I do see a question here from some employees wanting to know how they access the recording of this training. And for those of you that don't have the chat open, I do see that Melanie answered that, and she said that we will be adding the recording to the Confluence page, and that she is also happy to email it directly to anybody if you'd like. Just let Melanie know. I know in some of our earlier training sessions, the question did come up regarding furloughed employees. They did receive the same email, and we are doing additional training sessions next week that they can attend, or they can also access this recorded session. All right, if we don't have any questions, thank you guys for joining us. We're excited to roll this out, and have a great day.